Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so let's revisit the apes rant because I have not had one of these in probably over 2 months. And I think the reason being is because it wasn't anything for me to really share in regards to my sentiment. Usually, when I make an apes rant, I'm just going on some rah rah, this is what we're here to do. This is what brought me here. This is my story. You already heard that a million times. Like, I've told you my story in regards to AMC. And I encourage everybody to go scrolling back into my old videos of old apes rants, and you will find the journey. And also check out my therapy session videos, because I talk about the journey on the therapy session videos as well. So it's almost the best way to kind of understand what my AMC journey and overall journey has been about for this process. So I guess the update for me is to just speak on the ape, how do you say it, preferred stock dividend that has been assigned, not issued just yet. They're going to be issued, I think, probably within the next few days, this upcoming week, maybe Monday even. But we'll be getting one share for every represented AMC share that we own. Now, what do we know for a fact? What we know for a fact is that there is an unclear number of shares in the hands of both retail and whales. We don't know how many shares exist. We have firm belief and understanding, and it's the driving force behind what it is that we're doing, that there have been an abuse in the stock market in regards to this particular stock and many others, and that in that behavior of abuse we find that a lot of shares are in fact not represented by actual paperwork that states that these shares exist. They're reselling shares, and they are synthetic in nature. So this is what we've believed. This is what we have alleged. This is what we're here to fix, more or less. And what this ape preferred stock share dividend is supposed to do is supposed to, in fact, reveal the actual discrepancy between how many shares are listed and how many shares actually are in hand. And that discrepancy could be outstanding. Now, they're supposed to be issuing under 600 million of these ape dividends. That's how many shares are supposed to be in rotation at this point. We probably believe that there's maybe 3 or 4 times that. Probably 3 or 4 times that. Now, Adam Aron, CEO of AMC, has stated that it is possible for them to issue many more than necessary in order to assure that everyone who owns AMC stock receives their dividend. The problem is that creates the understanding that there is more than the amount of shares that they said they have, which in fact could reveal all of the corruption that ultimately has brought us here. And 2, it speaks to a concern that a lot of shareholders have, that if they have the ability to dilute our dividend, then obviously that could translate to diluting some of what it is that we have going on with the AMC stock itself. Because what people can then do is sell their ape dividend for more AMC, or of course just to cash out on it, which is obviously something that could be a problem because of the fact that they can continue to redistribute and ultimately dilute the value of what it is that the dividend is supposed to represent. But the elephant in the room is that's exactly what we're hoping is going to happen. We're hoping that because we've issued the dividend to represent the amount of shares that are out there, and we are so damn near positive, if not certain, that there's more shares in existence, then this will ultimately put those who've done this in a position to have to answer for what it is that has happened here. So that's ultimately what Adam Aaron, I believe, is trying to do. This is what he meant by pounce. This is what pouncing was. When he said win pounce, he had planned on attacking them by issuing this dividend. Same thing went with GME and the stock split. It's the exact same thing. Once you split the stock down the middle, now you have to redirect the paperwork to reflect all of what has been done there. And once you dig into the paperwork and realize the shares don't exist, how can you split them in half and have them represented in proper paperwork? You're not going to have the paperwork to split the shares if the shares don't actually exist as shares. So all of these different things, both of these different things being done at the exact same time, are most definitely attacks from our side toward the short sellers, in the sense that the companies that have been shorted, that we own, AMC and GME, are now aligned with our mission to help reveal any possible corruption that could be affecting the bottom line of what it is that their companies are about. And so that's ultimately what we wanted them to do. When we attached ourselves, the apes, to AMC and to GME, we were hoping to not only save the company, but use it as a hub for those who want to effect change and put their money where their mouth is and stop these hedge funds from doing what we believe is being done here. Or at least reveal the truth that our hypothesis is the truth. And if it's not, then we can find out what's really going on and why things look the way that they do, if it's not what it seems. But something's awry, and that part has already been clear to us for a while now. So now we wait for our dividend to show up. I think what you expect to see is that everyone who's had original shares should receive dividends, and everyone who has synthetic shares should be delayed on their dividend receiving their dividend. That's what I expect to happen. If everybody gets their dividend, that means that we're in some real interesting waters, because that would mean that they actually do only have 600 million or under shares. And if that's the case, then all of this was for naught, and that doesn't add up at all. Something would have to be explained to all of us that would make us understand how things have changed so drastically in a year and a half. So that's what I would need to be explained. If for some reason everything is on the up and up, I'm trying to figure out how is that even possible based on what it is we've been studying for the last year and a half. So we don't expect everything to go smoothly with this dividend, and there should be a lot of people who don't have it in their accounts. Should be, unless they dilute the thing to no end, as to which the price should plummet upon opening day. Like plummet. Because you figure if you're only expecting to have 600,000 or something, and you issue one for 600 million or something, and you issue one for each, and then you find out you have 4 and 5 billion or something, or 3 and 4 billion or something, and you still issue out because you have the ability to do that, then it's going to drive the price down to what it is that you got. Because now you're issuing 3 and 4 more times. This is what happened to Terra Luna. For those who are following Terra Luna, it was a stable coin that was rug pulled, more or less. I still haven't figured out how it's done, but it's been alleged that the same people who did this did that. So I don't know. It makes sense, because they were trying to secure a lot of liquidity at the time. We had a lot of stuff going on that was snatching the money out of the American public at that time, or the world's public rather. The inflation prices, we had the war going on, we had the gas going on, and all of that, it was encompassing at once. And I do believe that this was yet another one of those type of situations where just more liquidity coming out of Terra Luna at that time for them to secure what it is that they ultimately have to pay for in regards to everything, including AMC, GME, and all of the stuff that's going on with the stock market. I do believe that they snatched money out of crypto, stablecoin, took money away from people who really needed that money to help fund what it is that they have going on in regards to the situation. I believe the same goes with the war in the Ukraine. I think it's directly affected by that. I think the gas prices are affected by that. I think the rate hikes and everything that has affected how things have cost this year is a direct domino to the AMC GME stock market situation. I think it's a direct domino, and I think history is going to prove that what I'm saying is what happened. I think it's going to prove it. I think 10 years from now, we're going to understand that everything that had to do with right now, everything had to do with trying to fix the over leveraging issue in the stock market and everything else that trickles down from that mistake, which I believe was people taking advantage of the pandemic and misevaluating how people were going to behave after the pandemic. I think that's what ultimately we found out. The hedge fund said, ooh, everybody's going in the house. Let's double down on shorting crap to hell. And when they did that, they thought people were going to be in the house a lot longer than they were. They thought people were going to take a lot longer to come back outside. They thought people were going to be a lot more hesitant to repurchase certain things that they had lost that they had lost touch with during the pandemic, and all of that just was a bad thesis that they hung their hat on. And I think that's what ultimately happened. I think everybody in that space overestimated the fear of humans as it pertains to COVID and how we would handle the aftermath of COVID. And I think that's what happened, and that's why the numbers are all screwed up in a lot of different areas of life right now. People were trying to be opportunists, and their ambition bit them in the backside. And so that's what I think happened. That's why we're here. Ultimately, I believe that now we're closer than ever before to at least seeing some sort of response from the SEC that would satisfy our desire to see some change here. And everything else is just a matter of wait and hold, because at this point we've been here for this long and we're waiting for a specific thing. Now AMC is doing great since the dividend announcement. We're up almost 70% on the last 2 weeks. It's a big time blessing in my life personally, but it's more so about what we're here for. I'm not here for $30 a share. I'm sorry, I'm not. In fact, I wasn't here for $72 a share. That's not money. Not for what it is that we've done, not for what it is that we're trying to accomplish. That's not the reward that we're here for. Plus, we understand that the American government is going to take half of everything, because that's how taxes work in our country. And so we got to make sure that if we're going to get actual help or generational wealth, help for me in my situation, but wealth for all of us as apes, then we're going to have to see this thing to numbers that we're dreaming of, not numbers that we're seeing right now. Just because we've been at 14 and 10 and all these numbers doesn't mean that when we double that, we run for the hills because we're happy to see green. If that was the plan, you're in the wrong play. That's just it. Get in something else if you want to double your money. We're not here to double. We're here to enact change. And we're here to take on the biggest wealth transfer possible, basically. We want to be a part of that. And so that's ultimately what it is. And because these guys have over-leveraged themselves to no end, I believe it's very, very real that is going to happen. Very real. So I don't know. I mean, how long it's going to take, I've meditated on that, and I don't know. I don't feel good about what I come up with when I dig deep into myself, but I don't have any answers. I just feel like everybody else, that the longer I prepare to wait, the more prepared I'll be. I guess it's the way I have to approach. Because anything less than that is just the anticipation of something that you can't obtain until it actually comes your way. So all you're doing is waiting for something that you don't really know when it's coming. And that's for somebody who can honestly say, I've been a part of this for a year and a half. That's the worst way to approach this situation. If you're just getting into it, do not think that way. Do not think as if this is something that's counting down. You don't have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You don't know how many more 5, 4, 3s you got to sit for. But what you do know is if you wait long enough, good things will happen. And that's really what we know. That's what we know. How far this thing goes, it's up to us. Once it starts running, it's up to the will of the people who are going to stand there and wait, or the will of the people who are going to cash out more money they've ever seen in their lives. But one thing's for certain, once you cash out, if that thing keeps running, you're going to buy back. And then if it dips, you're going to lose profit. That's the reality of the situation. In other words, you bailed at 80. Let's say it shoots up to 80. You bail at 80. It goes to 800. You're going to buy back at 800. It goes to 1600. You're going to stay. It goes back to 600 and you're going to run. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. That's why we hold, man, because we understand that MOAS is going to be something unlike anything we've ever seen. And a lot of people are going to bail early. And a lot of people are going to jump back in. And they're going to lose a lot of money doing it. And so that's what I tell people. I don't have the best advice. I don't know what is to come no more than anyone else does. But in my mind's eye, I see it probably would be best to be certain that this thing can't go any higher before walking away from it once it does pop. That's just what I feel and believe. That it's best to sell on the way down than to sell on the way up. Because we really don't know where it's going. So if it starts taking all the way off, I think it's a good chance wherever you think it may stop, I think it's a good chance that we could see halts and then see it resume and more volatility from there. I think that's a good chance. That's what we will see. However far it goes. Because of the nature of what it is that our thesis initially was when we were considering what the aftermath would be, it's going to come in waves. It's going to come very, very, very strong. The volatility is going to be crypto-like. And let's say in my mind, this is just how I see it. Let's say you think you're selling at this number. Once you start getting into cosmos, it could be anywhere from random numbers because it's going to be moving so fast that it's going to be like trying to stop at a spinning wheel. You know what I mean? That let's just use examples. Okay, it's at $300. You're going to execute, it may sell at $350 because of how volatile it's going to be moving. So that's best case scenario, obviously. But that's just how I see it, man. I don't think there's going to be a normal situation. I think the halts are going to be real. I think the halts could last for a long time. I think they could possibly stop the stock market when this thing takes off. Like completely. Like for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We are not moving. We're not trading until we figure out what went wrong in our algorithm and why this thing is bleeding so much money. That's what they're going to tell you, I believe. Even though they know exactly why it's bleeding so much money. But that's what I think is going to happen. Biden's probably going to come out and say, we need to stop stock market, something that's going awry. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Because what's going to end up happening is, if this thing goes where we think it's going to go, it's going to become impossible to cover. That's what I believe is going to happen. You're going to reach a stalemate at some point where it's going to cost too much to settle this thing. That's what I think is coming. So that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody who's in this needs to understand that patience is the way to go. And if you're in it to make quick profit, you're just in the wrong place, because this is not going to be a quick process. If you're talking about getting the type of money we're talking about getting, logically speaking, that type of money doesn't come out of people's hands and into other people's hands without a massive fight in court. You understand what I'm saying? In court. So I think smart money prepares for a long battle after MOAS. Truth be told. Because I'm not letting X trillion amount of dollars leave my pockets without me taking somebody to court, needless to say. So I expect people to get sued. I really do. I expect people to get sued. I expect people to go crazy with the lawyers once this thing happens. So I know what's coming, but at the end of the day, I also know and believe this is an act of God. I really do. I think that this is a divine act. I think this is something that a lot of people are preparing to fix, and I think happenstance is going to make it so that it just doesn't work out for them to fix this. Yeah. And like I said, I ain't got no evidence of that statement. That's just what I'm going to say. That is in my mind. I'm going to say it like that. That's what I'm feeling spiritually. That whatever plans they have to stop this from happening, something's going to go a little wrong there. And it's still going to bleed out crazy. That's what I think, because I do believe this is a divine situation. I believe this, a lot of things are aligning in place in regards to the situation. My life personally, I feel like I've had a lot of support from random places to help me stay in this process. That just kind of fuels my belief that this is something that is supposed to happen. I don't know. But if you don't subscribe to that kind of thing, I don't have a problem with that. Ignore it. But we will see if my feelings and my gut feeling plays itself out, because we got it all on camera. But I'm telling you, whatever plan they have to stop this, I do not believe it's going to work. I don't believe it's going to work. No, they're going to have to let go of that money. They're going to have to let it go, and then they're going to have to revamp the system from which they work. The stock market, everything that they use, how they operate, it needs to upgrade. As simple as that. We're using archaic methods of investing in the stock market, and I believe crypto is trying to mirror those ways, and I don't think that's the way to go. I think that. And that's just what I see across the board. I say it on my sports videos as well. I think the sports is working the same way. The way that they operate is outdated. They're going to have to revamp the entire system to fit the world that they're working with right now. So I think that about a lot of facets in life. Financial system is definitely a part of that. So that's what I see there, man. A lot of uncertainty. I don't pretend to be the most knowledgeable person at all, but I do believe in what I'm doing. I've put my money where my mouth is, and I'm not walking away from this process at all. And I'm prepared for this to take longer than I have. Honestly, I'm ready to not necessarily benefit from this myself, but it's not about necessarily that. It's about also the mission of clearing up what looks like a bunch of forced clutter in our financial market. Forced clutter, and it needs to be cleared up. Balance needs to be had there. So that's what we're shooting for, man. That is my apes rant. That is what we got. Hopefully we get our ape shares, the dividends. I plan on keeping mine. I'm not really interested in selling it for more AMC. And the reason why I don't think I'm going to sell my dividend is because I don't believe that it's going to be worth as much today as it may be worth later on after all this. Now, granted, it's something where, you know, for every AMC share, you're supposed to get one. So if I sell one and get more AMC shares, I get more. I don't know how that works. I haven't even given that much thought. But what I can say is my intention right now is to just hold on to my ape and see what happens. Also, it's very important that I say this because I know people are slipping of the tongue. I don't believe I slipped of the tongue in this video, but I think it's important to differentiate the difference between Ape Coin, which is a crypto, which has some controversy attached to it that I'm not really up on, but I hear some controversy there. I don't know. But Ape Coin and then the Ape Preferred Dividend, two very different things. You can't find them in the same place, but it is something that people are accidentally saying, and there will be no confusion here. Ape Coin, crypto, Ape Share, dividend for AMC. So two different things. Clear on that. So that's what I gotta say, man. That is it. That is my apes rant for the day. I don't know how long it's gonna be before I make another one because I don't have this on my mind very much right now. The space I'm in regards to AMC is ignore it. That's how I've been playing it for the last 2 months, 3 months. Ignore it. Focus on everything else in my life and let that be the last thing on my mind. And ever since I've approached it that way, I've been pleased, and it's been improving. Now, I don't think those two things are correlated necessarily, but it does feel good to know that finally, when I stop paying attention to it, it start taking off. So I'm gonna play it the way I've been playing it and see what happens. Right now, we're at $26 in pre-market, I think. Market opens up in about 5 minutes, so I won't be checking in 5 minutes. I'm gonna go and do something else. And that's what it's about, man. I don't care what that thing's priced at. At the end of the day, if it's not at the moon, we're not at our destination. So you can give me $80, you give me $800. Ain't enough. Ain't enough. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.